Welcome back to worshipandproduction.com. I want to show you a website, a WordPress website that I set up for my church to help me stay organized and to give me the tools I need to be a worship and production pastor across two campuses. So this website is something I set up in WordPress. It was a free setup. We have obviously had to buy the domain name and the hosting, and I believe we went through GoDaddy.com. So a couple years ago, we were using Dropbox, and Dropbox was great. You could throw files in there. Everybody could have access to them. The more users you added, the more free space you got. So I believe we had like 10 gigabytes of free space. However, we started running into problems when contributors would pull out a file. For example, if one of our contributors, whether it be a staffer or a volunteer, would pull out, say, the sermon notes document, it was gone from everybody else's Dropbox immediately. So a lot of files started getting lost, like our announcement video files or our, just all kinds of things were getting lost. And so what we've done, what I decided to do was to make a WordPress website to house a lot of things that I use consistently in one place that's safe and that can't be deleted without an admin password. So let's just take a look at this site I built. It's just a free template from WordPress. I believe this background came with it. I do a little welcome here. You can read that if you want. Kind of drives people to our vision as a church. I've set up a tab for campuses. So we have our Upper Valley campus and we have our Spring Hill campus. If you look in these, I believe, so we've got our song list we have a Saturday night service that's a little different than our Sunday. So we've got our song list here. We've got our inventory, master weekend checkoff list. I have checkoff lists for each operator. I'll do a special video for that, or each volunteer position, so they know exactly what's expected of them before and after services. We have our worship handbook here, our covenant, our ministry roles, and song selection philosophy here. You can kind of see what we've got for each campus. And then we have the same for our Spring Hill campus, which is a really cool story I'll tell in another video. Then we have a media tab here. So we have our vision graphics here. These are our main graphics for our the 4 points vision that we have at our church. Really cool stuff here. We have a place to put our announcement video, so when my media volunteers get here before services, they know exactly where to go to get the most updated announcement video per campus. We have our series media, which I'm going to show you a video on series media creation here really soon. Our special media, this is where we would house like Christmas or Easter type media, or if we have a special offering video. We have a lot of missionaries around the world from this church, so we would house like some of their content here. Our master graphics for just our logos and all kinds of things with our Pantenes and all the color codes that we need and standards. And then a video on how to update this website. Next, we have our First Steps tab here. This is a ministry that is housed through our church. It's actually not. It's like a 501(c) that we let use our space. Our head pastor designed this discipleship curriculum. I'll do a special video on that as well. But I let them house some of their documents here. And then we have fellowship documents, so it's nice to have a place to house like our fellowship wedding packet. Our main website is not always the best place to house things. This allows us to send a link directly to like a couple that wants to get married. We can send it right to them, and we can update our documents right there. And then we have an arts academy that's actually been folded under our sports ministry, believe it or not. And so I'll probably be taking that down, but it gives them a place to house their documents. Then we have our worship and production documents. I want to show you a little bit. This is kind of what I use the most. So I read a book recently. I highly recommend it. It's called Worship Foundry by Jamie Harville. And he was a friend of mine. He is a friend of mine. I used to work with him in Nashville, just outside of Nashville at World Outreach Church. Amazing worship leader, songwriter, wrote the song Ancient of Days, and many, many more. He wrote a book called Worship Foundry. Highly recommended. Anyway, I took some of his tips and tricks from that and made a worship team audition questionnaire. I will do a separate video on why I did that, but it's really cool. If somebody wants to sign up for the worship team or join the worship team, they can fill out this form here before I ever meet them. So we will put this in our church bulletin, or if somebody says, hey, I want to join the worship team, I'll grab their email from them and I'll send them this team questionnaire. It takes a lot of guesswork out. We have a worship team member handbook / covenant. Just kind of my expectations to the team and their expectations of me. And I have a worship service leader position and a worship leader position. And that's the hierarchy I have in place here for my teams. And then we have an AV production team member handbook as well, and a worship service producer handbook. So these are all different positions that I manage as a worship and production pastor. These are all volunteer positions, and it allows me to have a place to communicate with my teams and house these documents where they don't get pulled out of Dropbox. Again, this is a way that I've set up a website to communicate with my worship teams outside of our main church website, where I can house the documents that I need to do my job. So I hope this is a good idea for you. I hope you can take it and run with it. WordPress is super easy to learn. There's all kinds of YouTube stuff, and you can build simple websites for almost no cost to house your important documents in a safe manner. So share this on social media if you would. Reply to this blog below. I will reply as soon as I can, and if you have any questions or suggestions that would help me or other worship and production leaders around the country, or around the world even. So thanks a lot.